everyone, my name is Vina, aka Miss WOC Reader, and welcome welcome back to my channel. And today I just wanted to talk about a topic that we've probably all been thinking about recently, and it's like, what the hell is going on with the online book community? Is it dying? Because it feels like the apps that have been popular for so long are all imploding around the same time. So we talked before, like earlier this year, about how Instagram had changed their algorithm and it like to favor Reels to be more like TikTok. And because Instagram changed their algorithm, it was so much harder to find your friends' content. I'm still having a hard time finding my friends' content on the actual timeline, and then the explore page is just a mess. So like I'll see all types of different stuff, like, and it's kind of almost random, some of the book related stuff that I will see, and I'll have like a bunch of other random stuff sprinkled in there. So it's really hard to like discover new books. And Instagram was already one of those apps where it was very more photo based, so it like was like, does the cover intrigue you, and then people might have a review underneath. Now with more of the focus being on Reels, I find that while there are a lot of funny bookish Reels, most of them aren't telling you about a book. Most of them are like about being a reader in general. They may hold up a book here or there, but it's nothing to really get me excited about a new title. So in terms of discoverability, for me at least, Instagram is probably the place I discover the least amount of books. But with Twitter imploding, everybody wants to go over to Instagram, and I'm just like, I need this algorithm to improve because I can barely see the people that I'm following there. Now with Twitter, it seemed like things were going fine, and then Elon Musk took over, and it's just been a hot mess ever since. People have been fleeing in like mass quantities because they're just so afraid of how he's going to destroy the app, and he's already made some little changes that have been terrible. The algorithm was kind of like on point, and now it's a hodgepodge mess now, which is really upsetting because I'm also struggling to see some of my friends' tweets now, and before it was like really good. I saw what I need to see. And then on top of that, I don't think there is an app that can really replicate what Twitter has been doing. So not only is it a great place for readers of all different genres to convene, but it's been a great place for authors and publishers and editors and so many different people to connect and share inside information. And I, for one, have learned a lot about the way the book industry runs just from seeing tweets daily. I've met so many great authors I've connected to, people who are helping me with my writing, people who are always recommending me great stories to read, and I just don't see how that is going to translate to another app, especially because Bookstagram, YouTube, TikTok, they're very visual forward, and Twitter not so much. You really get to use your words there. So if you're a word person like me, it's great because you can just tweet your thoughts into the void and start great discussions. It's a little bit harder to start discussions in other places, even though we used to joke about like how Twitter isn't the best place for long form discussions. It was a good place to start discussions, and then you used to just take the conversation to the DM where you could really hash it out. I think it's so interesting watching YouTube right now because it is really going through a lot of changes. So 2020 saw this trend of reading really come back strong, where a lot of people were bored in lockdown. They were at home, they had nothing to do. They decided to either pick up reading again or pick up reading for the first time. So we were seeing a lot of new readers, people interested in reading different stories, and just like a fervor for reading again. However, with the popularity of BookTok, we're seeing that a lot of the people who are picking up new books are younger, and they're picking up the old best-selling popular white books, and they're not so much interested in reading some of the newer, more diverse stories. And it's something that not only have many content creators have battle, but a lot of authors as well. And yes, you can always find your niche in TikTok, and many people have. However, we shouldn't have to go to yet another platform, recreate our own niche just to feel like we have a place to belong. I think that's where TikTok has a little bit of a problem, in that, yes, like, you can find people, but they're buried because their algorithm is just as bad, if not worse, than other sites. And it doesn't really reward these books that are not the norm. So I've seen like so much back and forth about what the future of book talk, how it's shaping the books that are being pushed in bookstores, how it's shaping how younger readers are reading, how authors are writing to try and cater to book talk. So it's going to be interesting to see where things are at in a few years, and if book talk will be able to sustain, because while a lot of people are interested in short form content right now, there's only so much like clarity you can get about like a 500-page book through like a 60-second or less video. And I don't feel like long form media will ever go away, because sometimes you do want that in-depth analysis, you do want that discussion, you do want to get the real on what a book is about, which is why I still always will appreciate a great written review, especially one that comes through with receipts from the text. We love to see those. When I'm looking at YouTube, I'm seeing a lot of frustration lately, a lot of stagnant content. It's so much harder to use YouTube's search functions to actually find new people, which is very frustrating, because they really do want to push the same bigger names at you over and over again. And we're seeing an influx of people who mostly do lifestyle videos who have decided to add book content, and now they're getting a lot of views for their book content, and it's kind of pushing the people who have always been about book content, it's pushing them out of the way, and there's not like any crossover between the audiences. Like, those people who are watching those lifestyle vloggers are not really coming over to interact with the rest of Booktube. And it's not just like the lifestyle girlies, it's also the study tubers, it's also some commentary channels are finding a lot of success, and they're getting a lot of credit. And I can see why people who have been on this platform for a while are frustrated, because it's like, you're doing all this work, you're reading all these stories, people are like going over to these people then and being like, oh my gosh, their content is so fresh, so amazing, blah blah blah. And most of them aren't reading anything new or different from the norm. In fact, most of them are reading books like that other people talked about years ago. The ones who are reading newer stuff, they're just kind of like picking up whatever is like thrown in their face, picking up whatever's popular, sometimes picking up from other people but not giving credit, which we will talk about how the like in the online book community, people do not want to give credit where credit is due. It takes nothing to mention that you heard so and so talk about a book, but people don't like to do that, and for what reason I will never understand. But we're seeing like a change in the type of content that is being put out on Booktube right now. A lot of people are doing reading / productivity sprints. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but like, it's a lot of the content right now, and while they're good, you have to kind of like flip through for the discussion. It's not the same as like a sit down discussion about a book. It's not the same as like a wrap up or like an interesting recommendation video. I mean, not that there aren't people doing recs. There are people definitely doing recs, but I feel like recommendations are a little bit less right now. While we're definitely getting like a lot of sprints, we are getting a lot of booktuber chooses my TBR or TBR games, because I know people want to keep their monthly TBR fresh. And I'm also seeing just like a lot more people talking about the same popular people over and over again, acting like no one else is out here doing anything special on BookTube or talking about any other books, and that's just simply not true. And maybe it's just because they're not finding the other people that are having great conversations. So I'm like curious to see where BookTube is going to be at, because it feels like a lot of people are no longer really posting, who even like 1-2 years ago were giving a lot of content. It feels like a lot of people have pulled back recently, and part of it is because, you know, we are no longer in lockdown. Most of us are hybrid or fully back into the office. We're able to move about more. People are going on vacations. They're going out more on the weekend. Like, it's not quite the same world as 2019. There's still so much that's different, but people aren't as into like reading as much as they were. And then also I feel like some of what has been published this year has definitely affected how people are like producing content, because I don't feel like there were a lot of super hyped books this year. Like, yes, there was Book of Night, yes, there was Babel, yes, there was Bloodmarked, but there weren't as many big buzzy books that everybody was talking about. And I didn't see like any big buzzy debuts as compared to the past couple of years. And then it felt like a lot of books this year, at least the ones I was reading, were very 3-star, maybe 4-star, kind of flat and average, so there wasn't a lot to keep you talking about them. And I know, at least for a lot of us Black readers, we've been discussing all year about taking a closer look at some of these stories and if they actually feel written for us, or if the author was clearly trying to appeal to a more universal, aka white audience. So we've been having those discussions because so many of the books feel similar. Some of these books feel like they're not written for us. And if they're not written for us, or they're too similar, or they're just kind of flat, we haven't been talking about them with the same energy that we were talking about books prior, especially because you're getting more and more books published. There's no point in wasting your energy on like what was such a meh book, when you can always just move on to the next one. So I'm curious to see where the online book community is going to be, because I feel like we've had a big shakeup and it's a lot different than it was the past couple of years. And we're going to be seeing more of the effects of that as the months go on. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. If you like this video, make sure and hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching, and I will check in with you guys soon. Bye now!